whenever we talk about you on television, we talk about what an excellent player you are, but also how heavy your darts are. What happened in the process of when you were a dart player? Was it literally picking up a dart, one heavier, picking up a dart, one heavier?
No, not really. I think it started as a gimmick at the start. I think I used to use like 22 gram Andy Fordham darts, and that's obviously like a real short barrel. And I was using short stems, real short points, little pair flights. I just wanted to use a small dart, and then it went from that to a really heavy dart, just opposite ends of the spectrum, really. And I just found that I was more consistent with the heavy dart, so it just stuck from there, really.
So you couldn't do a Peter Wright and literally change and change and change. I mean, I would never question Peter with what he's won in his career, but it's always something we do bring up.
No, I can throw most things as long as it's not too wild and too long or anything like that. I can throw most things, but I'm more comfortable with a heavy dart.
But it's crazy, you know, it's so easy to say, but it's so important. You have to get it right, and that's what you've got here.
Yeah, like I say, the heavier dart for me, I just feel more comfortable and more consistent, and that's what this game's about.
We've seen in the past when players have signed for different manufacturers and they just can't get to grips. With you being so comfortable and confident here, that bodes well.
Yeah, like I say, I'm laid back, and as long as the dart isn't too grippy, I feel like it doesn't really matter what the dart feels like. I feel like I can perform, and I'm looking forward to showing that.
Now, when a player improves and gets bigger, climbs up the order of merit, you've got Barry Hearn thinking, this guy's not marketable, you are marketable. You know, heavy metal, it just comes very naturally. Just tell us more about you, really.
Yeah, so I've always liked heavy metal music since I was, I don't know, 12, 13 probably, something I've always listened to. The like of skulls come from my dad more than anything else. He's always had a skull tattoo around his wrists, and that's why I've got skulls around my wrists as well. That more came from my dad. And obviously the nickname heavy metal comes with me having heavy darts as well, and I sort of look like I'm from a heavy metal band, so that sort of, it all molds into one, and I think the nickname suits me.
Back in the 80s and 90s, how did you get into darts? Or watch my dad, my mum in the pub, in the leagues and the county leagues. That's not necessarily the case for all players now. Just tell us more about you from the beginning in your early darts interest.
Yeah, so my mum and dad always watched darts on the TV when I was a kid. They'd always put a board up for me when I was sort of 7 or 8. And like when you're a kid, you sort of go through phases of, you know, I'd practice a lot for 2 weeks and then the board would disappear because I'd lose interest, and it'd sort of go like that up until I was 12 and I had my own bedroom then, and I had a dartboard up in my room. I don't think it was the right distances or anything like that, but I just sort of went through spells where I was playing computer games or whatever and be waiting for a game to start, and while I was waiting I'd stand up and throw darts. And then when it came to me playing, I started playing for my local pub team when I was 21, and I just, as soon as I started playing, I felt like I was better than everyone in the team, and they'd been playing for years and years, and I think that comes back to me playing as I was growing up.
Do you prefer playing an event with less crowds, or the bigger the crowds the better?
I think it kind of depends on the day.
You're a popular guy. People do like you in the crowd.
Well, thank you for saying that. I don't know. I think when it comes to Euro tours on a Friday afternoon when there's like 40 people in the crowd, I don't enjoy that very much. I'd rather it was packed and you can't pick out certain little voices that are sometimes trying to put you off. I think I prefer the bigger crowds.
Yeah. I mean, have you noticed it yourself, though, how big darts is getting? We mentioned the crowds, but, you know, Alexandra Palace, you know, the match play is always one of the favourite tournaments for dart players. I mean, is that what you were looking at as well growing up? I want to be there one day. Yeah,
well, it's funny. I think it was just when I started playing for my local pub team, I went to watch the Premier League down Exeter with my girlfriend. And I was just jokingly saying, I'm going to be up there one day, just as a laugh. And I've not quite reached the Premier League yet, but obviously I've played at Ali Pali, I've played at the match play a few times and played on, you know, lots of really big stages around Europe. So it's nice looking back on that, sort of having a joke, saying I was going to do that, and, you know, I've made it
is
reality.
Why can't you? Nothing's stopping you.
Oh, there's no reason why not. No, definitely not. Like I say, it's just putting a bit more effort in and just learning to be able to focus a bit more over the longer formats, and I don't think I'll be far off.
And do you feel this signing this move now is to say that this has come at the right time, hasn't it, in terms of that kind of focus and that determination you're talking about here?
Yeah, I think it's come just at the right time. It was kind of getting a bit stale at my last manufacturer. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. And yeah, it's just at the right time. It's just a bit of rejuvenation. Not that I needed it, but I think it just gives me a bit of extra focus now and wanting to do better.
For those asking, people love hearing about the players they like, the routine, how much practice. Let's talk about routine. What's the day like for Ryan Searle ahead of an evening match? What do you do? Because everyone's different. Every player's different.
I don't really do too much. Try and chill out most of the day. Get a series on Netflix to watch. And just chill. I like to get to the venue probably 4 hours-ish before I'm on. Just get the arm nice and loose, ready for action. Do
you have a routine? Do you have any superstitions? Anything you do and don't?
No. Sort of depends who's on that session. If I'm friends with anyone that's on the session, we'll normally partner up and we'll play a few finishing games. Otherwise, I'll just be there, just sort of throwing at the Triple 20, just doing a few finishing games on my own. But it's definitely better when you've got someone to do that with.
We're used to seeing you now in all the PDC events, but do you remember your very first PDC event and where?
I can remember playing when I qualified for the Players' Championship finals for the first time. And that was the most nervous I've ever been. And I played Steve West. I played absolutely awful. I got beat. And that was a good experience going forward, though. I learnt from that. And it was the match play last week. And I originally qualified for the match play for the first time 5 years ago. So I played terrible in that. And that was my first Sky event. And I kind of look from where I was then to where I am now. And it's night and day. And I feel like I'm only going to start pushing forward as well.
Yeah, and you talk about pushing forward. Do you feel like the major is on its way?
Oh, 100%. I've made a final already. And I've learnt from that. I was really nervous in that final, and I feel like if I get there again, the nerves won't be quite as bad. And this game is all about learning from losing, basically. You don't lose, you learn. And I feel like I'm really equipped to go on and win a major now.
Well, January is always busy for signings, and this one pretty much tops the lot. I look forward to seeing you in 2024, Ryan. Congratulations.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.